Alright guys, we are here today for the first ever episode of the Sovereign Music Podcast. And we're here with a very special guest today because this guy is actually one of my personal friends that I've met within the music and also the tech space. And, you know, he's taken quite a big dive, you know, into what he's doing with his musical talent, his tech talent, and we talk a lot about other things such as spirituality and earthly movements and vibrations. So it's glad for me, first of all, to introduce Nat Nye to the Sovereign Music Podcast. And this is, again, the first ever episode. So here we go. Introduce yourself, bro. Let the people know who you are, what you're about, and what you do.
Well, first and foremost, I want to say give thanks to my brother. It's an honour to be on the premiere episode of the Sovereign Podcast, and also we're connected because I'm a Stacks London community builder.
That's right.
And the Coinscrum movement as well. I'm glad to play my little role and testify on my journey, on this Bitcoin journey, this Stacks Bitcoin journey. So I go by Nat Nye, the Lyrical Alchemist. I'm an artist. I'd say I'm an artist first and foremost. I'm an artist before anything else because that's my purpose. Or through the arts, I get to deliver my purpose. My purpose is to enlighten and empower for transformative change in the world. And the arts is my medium to do so. But you've got other mediums, and I find that artists need to be empowered, and this is why Bitcoin connects with me, because it's a movement for empowerment, and artists working with Bitcoin can be empowered so that we can have self-autonomy. Otherwise, we have to play so much chess games, and we have to compromise a lot in order to navigate our way in the industry. And I can see how we can build our own with Bitcoin.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll get into that talk a little bit later again, right? Like, because for those of you who are joining us for the first time and coming from, let's say, the traditional music world, part of the reason for us doing this podcast is to bring technology and musicians together and exploring what technology musicians are actually using to get their music out, distribute, and also to, you know, receive return, you know, on their music, and also to build communities for their fans. So a lot, we've seen a lot happen, obviously, to the music industry over the past 5, 10, 15 years. So when did you first actually get into music? What was the thing that was it from a young age thing, or was it something that came to you later on?
So I've always loved music. Always loved it, but the practice of music actually really comes through spoken word. So my foundation, as an artist, as a proper artist, not, you know, the little plating that you do when you're young.
Yeah.
As a proper artist, is through spoken word and through, like, I love hip hop, I love rap. So I'm listening to that every single day. There's not a day that don't go by where I'm not listening to something. I have to.
Yeah.
And my style is very much influenced by rap. Very much influenced. The instrumental can vary, but my spoken word style is very much influenced by the rap. So I put that into the style, and naturally, as a spoken word artist, you have waves where people think that it might just break into mainstream, and it doesn't. So it gets, like, the tide rises, it gets higher and higher and higher, people get excited, the wave gets, and then it comes back down. Most spoken word artists are either going to theatre, or they're going to music, or they go into different branches. For me, music's just a part of my soul, and I just think, like, you put something over a beat, then it's just gonna hit, it's just gonna connect with people in a deeper way than generally speaking than a cappella.
Generally
speaking.
And and I suppose there's two sides to that, isn't it? Because when you've got the beat, like a lot what we see, let's say in the past, I'd say 10 years maybe, a lot of people are paying attention to lyricism that are, let's say, music lovers, but the average person is still kind of like the beat, right? But I think it can kind of work both ways, because the beat kind of gets people sucked in. Maybe the beat is the infectious part, right? And then the words, it's the way that the words hit when they're a cappella, and the fact that people listen to what you're actually saying. And obviously in the case of spoken word, it's not battle rap, so people can figure it out a lot easier, or resonate with it, shall I say, a lot easier. But what you said also brings me on to like a second question, which was like, or third question now, which is, what was for you kind of like, let's say one of your big break moments, like one of the moments that you've had since you've been doing spoken word, since you've been doing music, that was like, hey, this is gonna lead me on to the next thing. This is gonna be it, right? Whether that be like, you went into a record deal, whether you took the deal, you didn't take the deal, doesn't matter. Like, what was that point where you thought, hey, this could kind of be a make or break moment?
That's such a good question. That's a real good question. Because for me, I came into this kind of aware of Wagwan. Like I wasn't unaware. So, and my influences. Do you know David J, the vocal pugilist?
Sounds familiar.
Wear a hat, dress up, real smart.
It sounds so familiar, but no, not off the top of my head anyway. Not off the top of my head.
Okay, so yeah, Godfather. We used to call him the Godfather. And I was influenced a lot by him. When I first saw him, I was like, wow. Basically, I went to 3 different shows and standing ovation each time. And 3 different demographics as well. So you have the Pan-African lot, the R&B, like, sweet boy, crowd, the woman. And then the next one where it's just multicultural. It's white people, Asian people, black people, everybody there. And each of them, blown away by him. I was influenced by him a lot. So I knew what the industry was. So at the time, I was connected with Roundhouse.
Yeah.
I was an associate poet there. And I guess because of the opportunities that they provide, like main space Roundhouse, we performed at, we had our own event there. Then festivals, that was going and doing a festival circuit with them. Like, I guess that was where I thought that. This is, but at that time, I was like, I don't need no Roundhouse. I don't need no institution. Go solo. I learned really quickly that, no, you do need institutions.
So again, like, sorry, with that as well, so you just go right into like the next question again, but with that, like, what was, let's say, that ceiling or maybe the problem? What was, let's say, if you could identify maybe 1 or 2 key problems that you found with that big break moment where you was like, hey, I'm on the cusp of being able to blow this into something new. Like, what was the thing? Because as you said, at that time when this happens, generally for musicians, producers, whatever, you're on top of the world. Hey, I got this record deal, or I got this distribution deal, or I'm going to perform here, or, I'm down with this crew, or whatever it is, right? So what was that feeling like when you started, and what were the things that kind of became these barriers kind of to you taking that next step, or maybe that production pushing it further?
Yeah, I think, okay, so self-responsibility and accountability mindset, and just not knowing, like, this is a business. We're artists, but it's a business. Number one, it's a business, and businesses are dependent on your relationships. So to think that you can go and do things by yourself, and so you're like, it's kind of like a delusion thing. You need to have relationships, and you need to have relationships with organizations and institutions, and be it that institution might be a distribution, it might be whatever the institution might be relevant, a record label, but a record label that can do something for you.
Do something for you,
Or if it's management, they can do something for you. It's not like admin. basically, which they can end up be.
Yeah.
Like, it's like they have to be able to open, okay, we've got connections to this and that market that is relevant to you, or, you know, these type of things. So if you're going to go, well, now I'm like, right, there was never really a space open for someone like me. Like, to be honest, not really a space open for me. Like, I've been able to, like I said, perform at certain festivals. I've been able to be at certain buildings, perform at the V&A and you know, Tate and all of that.
Yeah.
American Embassy. I've done Princess Anne royal reception for her, and those little things.
Yeah.
But the industry don't want an artist like myself.
Yeah.
They don't want it.
Yeah, there's like, and you hear this quite a lot. There's like, you know, and even recently in some things that I've been doing as well, it's the same thing going on with some of the other artists I'm working with, and it's, you're getting, the industry have a way of pigeonholing people, yeah, right? Like, whereas whatever's popping, you know, we often hear that because it's not sound like whoever or whatever's popping, that it doesn't have an audience. And I think obviously, again, we'll get into this maybe in a little bit, but I think the online thing has obviously brought a lot more, not only eyes, but a lot more niche pockets for everybody, because, you know, as we often say, there's something for everyone, isn't there? Right? You know, there's always a buyer and there's always a seller, right? So in the end of the day, like what you're saying is that experience, one of the biggest challenges of that experience is being able to kind of grab hold of, let's say, an audience for your niche, and then the traditional industry also being able to, let's say, see your vision or get behind your vision, maybe. And that seems to be something that's, you know, been forever plague of the music industry, because in the end of the day, as you said at the beginning, music industry and music businesses, they are businesses. They want to make money, right? So they will go pretty much like with anything that is the latest money-making vehicle. And we see that all the way from, you know, let's say Elvis and rock and roll, all the way around to where we are now, you know, with the current music landscape. And it's like, I know a lot of the time we want to call it the powers that be, but I don't think it's more the powers that be. I think it's just the way that you should expect the business to work. And when you understand that it is a business, you understand that there may be a label or maybe a distributor or maybe a production house for you, but it's just much easier to find them now, because we're not coming from, let's say, this era of where we've had to do everything, you know, yellow pages, phone book era, right?
Yeah.
Let's say, yeah. So yeah, it's interesting to hear that just the pigeonholing thing is even still an issue, you know, in the wider thing. But then you've got also more people now, you know, in totality, right? Sorry, in total. You know what I mean, right? So you got totally more people across the board in terms of fans and artists. So although there's more, let's say, niches to be explored, there's more people exploring niches, and then when something blows up or gets steam, it really gains traction, and now everybody's just focused on that, like mesmerization, right? So everyone's just focused on this particular niche. So if you're a guy that's over here doing something, you know, you still got to get your ball rolling up to that point that it even gets recognized, you know, in that big sea of artists. So it's very interesting that that's like a train of thought that you're going down with, you know, the way that you see things. And then as well, I like the fact that it's like accountability, right? Because we all got to take accountability for decisions that we decide to make in the end of the day on where we want to go on our own individual journeys, you know, be that in music or in business, in family, in life, whatever it is, right? So one of the other things I'll ask, right, going from there is, if if you're finding it difficult to, let's say, find a niche, find this place, find people to help you, right? Because there's no I in team, as we say, right? So obviously these things are things that you're either spending time or money on, right? And as a musician, I would say that all of us, we don't necessarily want, let's say, the pop star position or the fame position, but all of us would like to somehow fund or be able to fund an endeavor to use these talents and get some kind of return, right? So what challenges did you face, let's say, or have you faced over time in monetizing your actual efforts? So going back to those days when you were, going with Roundhouse, you were doing this, like, what was your outlook on how you would monetize then compared to what we've seen with monetization and how you would then think about monetizing in today's age?
That's an excellent question. And yeah, so for me, in them days there as well, I wasn't business-minded at all. I'm an artist. It was that kind of mindset. I'm an artist. It's pure, anti-capitalism type, certain brethren, we mutual brethren we got, like, that's still got that kind of mentality. Like, they put the art first and then everything else comes after. But, when you see, like, actually, for me, I look at results. Like, I'm the Lyrical Alchemist, and I go by that in multifaceted ways. And basically, it's connected to science, and with science, you need to have results. So when I'm doing my thing or whatnot, or in any fashion, it's like, okay, what is the results? So when I'm honing a craft and developing it and doing certain shows, performing, etc., connecting with people, money is a part of that. So
yeah.
But I'm seeing, like,
man's got to get a bus, man's got to get a train, get a cab. Gas prices are high. You understand, right? So
you know what I'm saying? So, like, there's certain shows I'll be doing, and it's like, oh my god, you're amazing, and I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. But when I'm looking at the coins in my hand afterwards, I'm like, that's not really it's not really matching the amazing. It's like, I'm getting the compliments, but the money is not matching that. So it got to a point where monetization, I've had to shift. I've had to be more business-minded. I'm still on that journey, still working on it as well, because for me, it's just about the message and that kind of... But now I'm like, basically, can you be a prophet without money in this capitalist world?
Activism costs dough, fam. Activism costs dough.
It costs dough. So
freedom of expression, but it's not free to express, bro.
It's not free to express. As you said, like, you have to fund everything. Or you have to find the money, all the time and the energy, which is basically what money quantifies. You have to find it somewhere. You have to find it to rehearse. You have to find it to put, to create what you're creating. And then to deliver it, you have to find that to deliver it in the studio or to even deliver it on stage, like wherever it be, you have to find it. So I'm still on that journey of valuing what I do. So maybe 6-7 years ago or something like that, I started to shift in terms of mindset. So if someone asks me to perform or whatnot, or asks me for a commission or whatnot, I'm able to somewhat get a greater value than I'll do it. And then Don't worry, bro. Yeah, man, I love this, man. Don't worry, man. Just stick me in the cipher, bro. I'm cool. I need to get some form of value for it. And also knowing if you're dealing with the corporate world, you deal with them differently to how you deal with the community or your brethren. Of course, like your brethren, you're more tempted to do things for free, but you have to understand that if Nike come approach you today, you're not going to charge them the 200. You're going to charge them a couple bills even. You're going to charge them appropriately.
Yeah, definitely. And a lot of people, I think this is, again, just to go back to the points that you was making before. Again, in those early days, and again, just to say what the early days are, because I know there's going to be some young bucks like back in the day that's going to say it to you, right? Yeah. So early days, we're talking about like pre-streaming, right? Pre-streaming era. Yeah. So like in the pre-streaming era, if Nike had come to somebody and said, yo, we want to, dude be like gassed, like out of this world, hey, you know, give me a pair of Jordans and I'm signing away my masters, bro. You know what I'm trying to say to you, right? And it was, I think the culture back then, it was a lot easier for people to not understand and to jump into those situations because the stack was always like, or the stack to somebody who's brand new would always be, hey, I kind of find a way to record a demo, and then I take that demo to a label or an A&R, and then I get signed, in which point they're kind of, you know, in that trap already if they don't know what they're signing, right? So and when they're signed, it's even worse because the endorsement deals that come in, like, you know, the big brands, like we're saying Nike and everybody else, these are all now coming in through the label, right? So they're not coming to the person directly. They're not even dealing with that. So when they get a pair of Jordans, they have to do it. It doesn't matter whether they want to do it or not, right? Because the labels say, well, look, you know, if you want to get paid, bro, you're going to have to do this Nike advert for the pair of Jordans. And hey, you know, we were unable to get you more. And probably in the background, the labels maybe cut 50K off of that deal, you know what I'm trying to say to you, right? So carry on to what you were saying there, because I didn't want to stop your flow, but what you were saying about just, again, during that time, you were looking at the money or the return that you were getting and just not adding it up.
Yeah, I wasn't adding it up, but you know, it's all a mindset thing because your journey as well, actually, you've been aware of certain things. When you're ready to share them nuggets there, there's ones of us who's like aware of certain things or just naturally more business minded savvy than someone like myself, like who, and will be selling the CDs on the roadside. We'll be doing that and then earning quite a bit from it as well. Like,
big up to the man them are still serving the CDs on the roadside, but we see you still. There's a couple man doing it. Like I had to pull up one you at Stratford. You know, he was selling his thing and that and that. I support. You know what? I really support guys who do that. Like, but I can't do that support of I'm gonna randomly buy your thing and I haven't listened to it anymore. Because we had that whole era of like...
Yes, we did.
just anyone doing it, you understand what I'm trying to say to you? Like, see a man with one leg, one arm trying to sell you a CD, you know what I'm trying to say to you? Like, and you know, I'll buy it because, you know, man has got one leg, one arm, whatever, right? And you go back and listen, you're like, this is trash, bro. Like, I just can't believe I just gave this for the £10 or whatever for this thing, right? So sorry, again, carrying on from there, like... So from coming from that time of you seeing this happen, what was the change or what was the turning point for you where you said, hey, I can still do this in my own way, but then also be able to, let's say, monetize, you know, in my own fashion? Like, what was the point? Was it like when you discovered YouTube or maybe you know use one of those guys selling the fucking CDs, right? You know, just say to you, maybe what was the point?
So, okay, Nipsey Hussle. Nipsey Hussle. I got into Nipsey Hussle. My brethren did tell me about Nipsey Hussle a long time before Nipsey's name blew up, and I was looking into him, and he's very, very business minded. He was very entrepreneurial. And I saw what he did. You see what he did with the mixtape thing?
Yeah, with the mixtapes.
That blew my mind. I was like, oh my days. And I tried to didn't do it anywhere close to as successful or anything. But I thought, I've got this EP, this sort of ethereal sound, spoken word type joint. And then I thought, it's 4 tracks. And I was like, let me put £10 on that on Bandcamp. And then I have the CD, I was selling the CD for £10. And so people at the time were like, "Raw, how can you sell only 4 tracks for £10?" And it was just literally inspired by Nipsey Hussle. It got me a little something, little change. It was okay. But from that point on, I started to, and really and truly, the realization of all of my knowledge is going to be happening now, to be honest. Because it's been a journey. I tried that and it got me a little something, it got me by, but I haven't executed. And the reason why I haven't executed properly, because the streaming didn't appeal to me, because it's fractions of a penny. And social media, always had a struggle with social media. I'm a person-to-person type person. So online, I've always had a struggle with navigating online. Like, being consistently posting every day, or even just connecting online, like on a consistent basis. Always had an issue with that. I more prefer this. Like,
Talking to the man,
always preferred that. So the realization of my knowledge and applying it into my art is really happening, or is about to happen. Putting everything together, and to be honest, it's crypto where I've felt right. This is where things can really, I can gain equity from my artistic
for yourself,
output. For myself, to get value from what I'm doing, because I'm a perfectionist, which is a problem. I thought about it earlier today. Like, perfectionism is a hindrance to progress. If you want to get to here, you can't be thinking about shining or wiping the last bit. You just got to get to there.
There's one little mark on the floor, so we're not going to open today. You know, actually say to you, like, so
So for me, I'm like, right now, with the streaming and such, even that needs relationships. You need to have certain relationships with bigger. As an artist, you need ones with big platforms to be able to get in there. To build up from grassroots now, it can still be done, but that time really and truly was 2008 to 2013, 2014. I feel like where you could have had organic growth.
Yeah.
Now you have to play the algorithm game, and you have to build relationships. And if you want to get on Spotify, you need to have relationships with playlisters who can put you on a top playlist and such. Otherwise, you become the 90% of people that, I can't remember the stat, but every single day there's an insane amount of content uploaded.
Dumb amount, like,
and 90% of it doesn't get heard. It's like 0 views or 0 streams.
That's mad.
Or I think it's up from 0 to 10, and that's it. Like, so the mainstream artists basically eat up everything else, and then you have the rest, like the independent artists who are business savvy, and you said earlier about building community and stuff. They are the ones who get their little section of it. So the mainstream artists dominate, and then you have the little independent artists that are business savvy that get their section of it, and then they're able to. Them ones who are able to really master the thing, they're able to, off their community, they're able to gain even more on a personal level in terms of real money than even the mainstream artists. And that's what I'm aiming to do now. Like, I'm aiming to just get my ducks in a row and then execute upon the knowledge. And I know we're going to get into it, but with the things I love about crypto and Bitcoin, it applies to, and to be successful in that world, it applies to being successful as an artist. The same rules apply. You have to have a community. You have to. You have to deliver for that community. You have to. You have to communicate with that community. You have to. Like, if you want a successful project in crypto, if you've got your own, you have to communicate. You have to have a community. You have to constantly communicate. You have to have good energy. Wag me. You have to have the wag me. Artist, you have to have the wag me. You're saying to the community, we're all going to make it because I'm delivering something that you're not saying you need, right? You're supplying me with the funds being able to that. Wait, wag me. Like,
we're all going to make it. So I think it's a sharing thing, right? And there's a sharing of value in it, right? And again, we'll get into this a little bit later. And big up to the some of the podcast apps where you'll be able to find the podcast later, like Fountain, and the Lightning Network podcasting 2.0 algorithms, where some of you maybe are listening to this on those at the time, but yeah, like it is literally a value creation, value share. Some people, the people I'd say that are the consumers of your music that are paying or paying to stream it, those people are sharing the value that they've created, which is for them a monetary value, and you are sharing your artistic value or your value of opinion or your creative value in what you have created. So So it's an exchange of value, right, essentially.
And an equitable one at that.
Yeah. You know what I'm trying to say to you. For both parties, it works. Especially when the artist, as you said, has got this community that they monetized with, that they're either giving rewards or something back to, or maybe lessening the load on their monetary contributions. So at times, I think, you know, V for V for me, at times when the artist is unable to give back to the community is supporting the artist. And at times when the artist is able to now give back to the community, the artist is supporting the community, right? And a lot of that community are going to be other people that are artists, that are creators, that are not just fans, that maybe want to create something, to do something new. So, you know, artists meeting the artist even is a very cool thing, you know, that a lot of, let's say, more reputable, or not reputable, but more known artists tend to do, like meet and greets, right? Say, you know, hey, and that provides value to the listener, because the listener has this kind of almost like morale boost or moment of happiness where they're able to meet their favorite artist and talk to them and share ideas and maybe connect on a more personal level. And you've already connected on, let's say, a vibrational level, because you are putting out music that this person is listening to. And this person is listening to you because they are thinking what you're saying or what you're making, right? And you vibrate on similar frequencies. So yeah, man, it's a key thing. And with like kind of like what you've got coming or what you've got doing, are you pulling away from, let's say, the old hard copies model, or do you see that hard copy physical stuff can still blend with the digital realm?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I was at this venue the other day, and they had a vinyl player, and I put on the headphones, and I was like, wow, no, I need a vinyl.
Yeah, we love a bit of vinyl, man.
Yeah. I think K Mayfield.
Yeah.
He's got a vinyl, right?
Yeah. Kane's got a vinyl for the Dust record. And for those of you who don't know, right, there's a fantastic artist, and hopefully we'll be able to get him on a further season.
Jeez.
But Kane Mayfield, man, fucking this Dust project that he's put out, like hard money, hard copies, you know, definitely got a plan. And that being said, I think there's a lot of us in that space that, you know, we kind of understand where the chips fall, and that we can do multiple of these things. We can have the hard copy stuff in with the digital stuff, and then also the ownership and the distribution. So yeah, sorry, go on. You were saying, so with yourself and the hard copy stuff.
For me, it's just all about value. Like, I see what a lot of us in our space, and that the ones that we know, and that what we do is of a certain quality. And I feel this is what I'm saying in terms of value. Like, what I produce, I don't want it to be like a McDonald's, or even less than that, like a penny sweet. You know that penny sweets? I put it in the penny sweets. This is do you remember that After Eight?
Yeah, After Eights.
I used to save those chocolates.
After Eights was like the thing where you see when your mum or your nan breaks out the After Eights, bro. You're just plotting. You understand, right? Because that's the thing that's the chocolate that don't come out of the cupboard.
Doesn't come out.
It don't come out of the cupboard, bro, until it's like Christmas or whatever. And then you go for the special thing in it. You get me? Or like the box of Quality Street back in the day, right? Or the roses or something.
Exactly.
So go on.
So that's what I'm producing. So it needs to be valued like that. So vinyl gives me that feel. Like Bitcoin gives me that feel. Stacks gives me that feel. Gives me that feel like what I'm putting here I've put so much energy, love, and like respect into this thing here. And so it needs to be distributed in that fashion. So for me, like as soon as I can, I want to have the vinyl, I want to have the ordinals, I want to have the Stacks NFTs, I want to have it in those different fashions. And I'll use the streaming platforms, as a means for like window shopping. Like get the but where I'm gonna get the value for what I do is in those means. And also, like, I think it's just important for artists to understand value of themselves and what they're producing and how that should be represented, because when you are following the mainstream fashion, like for a start, like you're relying on the middlemen who are giants. They basically select, and what a lot of people don't think about is the difference in budget. If they can afford to, if they're really behind you and they give you 500k plus a milli, they give you that level of budget, then, and they're pushing you, they're making sure they link you up to this one, that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and getting you up with these type of deals, getting you set up for award shows, getting you hooked up with the right type of artists that can take you a level up, collaborations, all that kind of stuff. You've got that boost, then it increases your chances of being successful. Whereas if you haven't got that, even if you're signed, you're not guaranteed to get that. They can shelf you, which they do to most artists, to be honest. It's better for you to, or for me, I want to go down that journey. I never did want to have no interest in going down that journey. For me, it's more about cultivating that community and giving them the value, and that they are the biggest advocates for what I do, and then they can share the news so that we can grow this together.
Together, definitely.
Ultimately, the way I see it is that I'm a vessel for the message anyway.
And that being said, right, so what do you see, because I think we're a bit over there with all the, we'll come to that back in a second, right, but what do you see as kind of like, what do you see as the major change in monetization models that we see currently? Because you kind of touched on it there with saying, you know, like, hey, these are the Spotify's, the Apple Music is more like, really for you, it's looking like these are more like the marketing platforms and maybe distributing the dairy milk, right? Because we're also giving the Cadbury's and the chocolates and the sweeties example, right? You know, I'm trying to say to you, right? So, you know, you've got, as I said, you know, the Quality Street or the After Rates and the Roses, and that was like the special stuff, like it's like the scarce stuff, right? Limited, right? You can only get that in the Easter, the Christmas, whatever, right? But like you've got the everyday stuff, like you know, and then no diss to Mars or anything like that, but you know, you just got the bog standard Mars, bro. You know what I'm trying to say to you, or the dairy milk, right? On the everyday basis, right? So with that in the music, like essence, is kind of like what you're saying then is there is the quality stays the same, right, throughout, but there is a certain music or certain amount of your music or your art that you're working on that is meant for marketing, let's say, or for the wider crowd, and then there is that niche that the people who want what you're providing, the people who want that value, who are exchanging the value with you, that they're looking for. And that's what you're saying then basically, is that, hey, you're trying to kind of hit a two-pronged approach of, hey, out here, you know, some stuff is going on over here. This is, you know, here's some Cadbury's, some dairy milk, and, you know, come to the tuck shop. Yeah, I should have said to you, right? And when they come to the tuck shop, it's a bit more like Willy Wonka's factory when they turn up, right? You know what I should have said to you. So they're like, hey, I need a fucking golden ticket, right? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so just like, sorry, again, the question is just, where do you see, or how do you see what you're doing now differing from current monetization models? So,
yeah, like, I like this analogy still. But, what I'm going to do, or my uncle, he said basically something profound. A couple of weeks ago, he was saying to me, whatever trade or industry you're in, is to be successful, it's about your willingness to be uncomfortable. It's not necessarily your ability to work hard or your actual talent. It's your willingness to be uncomfortable.
Work well under pressure.
To work well under pressure. And it's to put yourself in situations where, you know, like, so for me, like I said earlier, social media has been an issue. So that's where I'm uncomfortable. So for me, I know we're in the digital world. I need to push myself in that way to be successful. Like I've only got 2,000 followers on IG. I think that's the most of it. Yeah. And then the vast majority of the people on there I've actually met, or they've seen me perform live. Like they've seen me in.
So you have a more of a direct connection with the people that are following.
I have a more direct connection with the people I'm following. However, because I've not been so prolific over the years, and the algorithm means that 2% of them see me anyway, it means I need to rebuild that back up.
Yeah,
so because of that, my tuck shop is now open, like, and this is my plan. I don't mind saying it. I want everyone to that's it. And you know, it's called. This is sovereign music. So we want everyone to be sovereign.
Yeah, so exactly.
For me, I want the ideal scenario is that my lab is open.
Yeah.
And so what I'm putting out on social media, what I'm putting out on the streaming platforms, will be my open lab. So you get to see like what I do in draft form, essentially.
Okay.
You get the journey of it. So I might even just do something that I just read or whatnot. I don't like that look, but it might be off paper, but you won't see it type thing. And then people get to informed on the journey of it. They tell me what they like or whatnot, and then I add to it if it connects with me and such and such. And so I'll put that up on. The plan is to basically flood that on social media, flood that on streaming platforms. Kind of like who's done? People have done.
I was gonna say it's that following the story of how you're building, you know, into what you're building.
Yes.
And funnily enough, another good artist that we can mention here was Kehlani, right? Because she's done the similar thing, isn't she? Right? Her thing is, and this is, by the way, this is not the bashment Kehlani that you guys know about. You know, the bashment Kehlani. This is an artist. She's a musician that is in the Bitcoin space in the Stacks cryptocurrency blockchain ecosystem. And she literally, I think her thing was called My Story or something, her first thing that she started doing. And she's built up like this Discord, and she's built all of her thing around her creating. So her writing schedule, her studio schedule, what she's maybe writing about, the difficulty in writing about certain things. And you know, she again, I don't want to give away too much, but you can go and check out Kehlani, right? Again, this is your thing, so I'm not going to do any super shout-outs, but people can search for Kehlani, Bitcoin, Kehlani, you know, Stacks ecosystem. And she basically kind of took this stance where it was something terrible had happened in her life, in her family, and she basically told the story of that through music, but then also broke down how difficult it was for her to be able to put that story into her music and why she did it. And she made that into kind of almost what her content is. So when you go and watch her channel, or you jump onto her Instagram or whatever, her content is constantly about what she is doing to create. And then she will maybe release that as an artwork or a single or a video or something at some point. But literally she is taking every single person that's watching through this journey of, today I came up with a song title, and by the time it's finished, hey, this is the release of that song title that 3 months ago, you know, I was talking about, right? Yeah. So I can definitely resonate with that, and that definitely gets a lot of people, again, because it's a value exchange, as we were saying. So it makes people resonate with, hey, maybe I'm in my bedroom trying to create music as well, and there's something that I wanted to talk about that I thought was difficult to talk about, and now I've seen her experience, then it makes it much easier for me to come to terms with what I'm trying to do, right?
The key thing out of that is authenticity.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that is it, 100%, bro.
And just being real, like, and that's the thing, being a perfectionist now, and you want everything to be shine and clean, and you want everyone to see the perfect. And so when they come see you now, they're, oh my God, how did you even do that?
But authenticity makes mistakes, bro. Authenticity makes mistakes. Like, that's it.
And people want to connect with something that's authentic, especially nowadays, actually, because we've moved from that era. Like, you know, when you're saying that the era of like it was kind of like any kind of celebrity you see of that time, anyone who's made it into mainstream, you kind of get a package that is perfect. Even if it's gangster rap, it's still a perfect package. You don't get to see actually their downside. You get these superhero type characters. Yeah. But we shifted from that. Social media era now is where like you have to show yourself. You have to show all sides of yourself.
And I think that kind of came through with the DVD era as well, because the DVD era was like, you know, whether you want to say it's the American ones or the UK ones or whatever, the DVD era was not just man them freestyling in front of the camera. It was like people going to where these guys live, you know, going like almost like MTV Cribs, right? Some of the DVDs, because it's like going to where these guys live, taking the camera to them, right? You know, like you know, me and Len, as I said to you before, you know, we used to do this thing, Street Verbals, right? You know,
and that was before SB.
That was like before there was YouTube existed, right? Do you understand? And I think at the time there was maybe one or two. There was no Lord of the Mics yet. There was no Lord of the Decks yet. Like there was maybe one or two. I think like there was. I mean, Risky Roads. I think that came later, didn't it? But there was a few other guys that were doing similar things, right? And it was all kind of taken from the Americans of the Smack DVD and the Cocaine City and whatever, you know. But one of the things that I think we found unique about what we were doing at that time is we were just going everywhere. Do you understand? So we just pull up on the ends. Yo, bruv, you cool, you man good, boom, boom, boom. And a lot of the times, bruv, we were pulling up to ends where man them thought it was a madness, because we were pulling up and we're rolling and we got the whip's tinted, and you know, man skidded up on man. I can tell you, there's loads of occasions where we skid up in a man's estate or whatever, and they're like, you know, who's that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Man are all getting ready, you understand? Like, man are all getting ready to draw for certain things or whatever. We have to, nah. You know what, brother? It's all love.
Yeah.
We come to see what's going on in your ends. You understand what I'm trying to say? Who's the guys that are doing this thing? Who the guys that are rapping, producing, whatever, and just showing that side. So again, like you said, like showing that authenticity. We never, when we were doing Street Verbals, we never wanted to ever have it that we were like too structured. Don't get me wrong, we were organising with people, say, yeah, we're going to come on this day or whatever, after, let's say, the second episode, but it was never, we didn't want it to be so stiff that if we was in an end and some youth rolled up on the street and said, yo, bruv, record me, that we wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
But then there's also quality control. There's also quality control. There is also quality control. So again, going on from that, right? So when did you start to connect, let's say, the technology side of things? Because again, although like, you know, this is for yourself, obviously we know about the crypto, the Bitcoin kind of stuff. When did you start to connect that I can now use this technology, not just the YouTube, not just the Spotify, but I can use computing, right? Because it's the internet, right? So I can use computing to now take my thing to the next level and use this independent. What was the kind of the moment for you? Was it the Lily Allen MySpace moment? Was it the you know, again, was it YouTube? Was it
I think MySpace is you got to shout out MySpace.
Yeah. MySpace, the OG daddy, right? So yeah.
OG, it's the daddy, like. Yeah. But yeah, for me, that's never been my strength. So I didn't even. Yeah, I didn't make the most of it. Like, if I could go back to my younger self now, I was more interested in performing. That's what I was interested in. Yeah. Real life performances.
Yeah.
But if I could go back to my younger self, I would be like, no, like balance. Like, you need to focus on using the MySpace, definitely, because MySpace was hot.
Yeah, it was.
And then YouTube as well back then. So the realization for me has come very, very late, to be honest. It's come and it's because I'm purpose driven and I'm like, things have to connect with me. So if I was utilizing these technology forms back then, I'd be in a lot stronger position than I am now. Like, it's a fact. But it is WebFree. It is WebFree.
Yeah.
It's really,
because I know when we first met, you were like, because you also and definitely shout that out as well, and shout Stella as well. Yeah,
Yes, my other
can't forget, right?
Yeah.
Like, so maybe we can explore that a little bit, like when you discovered like Web3, and then you started to put on events, didn't you, for artists and for creators to teach them about Web3, you know? So let us know a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so basically, before that point, I'm still on a journey of learning. So, streaming didn't really connect with me because the fractions of the penny. I go deep into everything I go into. So it didn't really connect. And I'm like, oh, if I'm putting this in a million, 3,000 out of a million, that's a lot of work for that. Like, but basically, it got to Patreon came out, and Patreon was interesting. Bandcamp, that's where I went to. Actually, Bandcamp was...
and you know, I was talking to clips about this the other day. Like, Bandcamp is like, you know, really kind of the spot which it was like, it's like the best monetization for musicians in the Web 2 world, isn't it? Right? So yeah.
Bandcamp is where I went to, but I put my first EP on there. That's where I put my EP, but I didn't utilize it as much as I should have. Like anywhere close to as much as I should have. It's kind of dormant, but I did use it, and Bandcamp is good. I rate Bandcamp, but Patreon came out. That was interesting. I didn't use that either. There was a UK version of that startup that Stella and I were both involved in, and it didn't work out because, you know, mentalities are different. And for me, I've got this huge vision, this massive vision, and I just see things way beyond the industry. Like, we've been doing music for thousands of years before music industry even existed. Yeah. So I'm like, they are not the standard bearers for me. They're the standard bearers.
Yeah, they're not the arbiters of what you want to do.
They're not the arbiters of what I want to do. I see, like, I'm like, yo, I'm the Lyrical Alchemist. I'm around at a time when we built pyramids with poetry, with lyrics. Like, the power of music. Music is like, it's so downplayed the level of power it has. Like, but we know it when it comes on, when a certain beat comes on, depending on where you're at. If you can't listen to, well, I say you can't, but classical music is not going to make you feel the same way in the gym. Then
of course, because all the vibrations have different vibrations, different resonance, right? So
and it connects with you. Like, you're going to act as to what you're going to do with the music. So the way I'm like, all right, I just see that we can build our own industry. So this startup kind of offered that, but they're like the people, the money people behind it, they didn't have that mindset. They're more seeing how they could do what a patron's doing, extract from streaming and earn money from it, and that's it. But I'm like, we can build a whole ecosystem. Didn't work out, but when the NFT thing blew up, when that got crazy, and then I dig deeper into it and be like, this is not what NFTs is. Like, everyone thinking that NFTs is the profile picture. But that's not what NFTs is. It's the contract that says ownership. So I'm like, like, in my head, like, wow, this is. So the word I was looking, or the phrase I was looking for earlier is that. And in terms of the Ferrero Rocher and the
Ferrero Rocher, man, will chew another one in this, the Raffaello and that. Go on.
Like, is that basically it's fine art. There's a difference between fine art and regular art.
It's the Fortons.
It's the Fortons. It's that. So I can see how NFTs can, and now ordinals come out. I can see how that can really give you audience as well. Like, I can see how that can place value on what you do. So now, I think it's like 2 years ago when we connected. Yeah. And you're a Bitcoin whiz, and
I do want to get it. Yeah. Go on.
And so I was flirting with the other blockchains at the time. I was flirting with them. I was thinking, Ethereum. I don't really like the idea of the transaction speed and then the transaction cost as well. Because I'm thinking I want to make this accessible to as many people as possible. And certain people, if they paying a certain amount, and then they have to pay on top of that just for
just to access it, or of course.
Then I didn't want to do that. So then the other ones were appealing to me, like Tezos or Nia. So I was flirting with Tezos and I was flirting with Nia and Algorand. I was flirting with them lot because fast transaction speeds and it's like pennies for the word is escaping me. Transaction fees.
Yeah. The TX fees. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's pennies. So it's not really.
It's not impacting the consumer to pay.
It's not.
It's like a delivery fee, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
It's nothing. So I was flirting with them, but again, everything is purpose driven for me. So when I went to a NIA conference, and the founder of NIA was there, and everyone was asking questions. I asked my question. I was like, "Yo, what is your dream? Like, what do you envisage in 30 years?" And he gave me this kind of neutral response. I didn't think worse of him. I didn't think better of him. It was just like, okay, that's not. So, but every time I hear the Bitcoiners now, it's like we are here to change money, and that passion behind that really just connects with me. So linking with you now, and you breaking down like, yo, we've got an L2 here that could basically work, like put you in the Bitcoin ecosystem, and the emphasis and the priority of Bitcoin, like so. Anyone that links to you is going to know about Bitcoin, but know about the importance of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's not just a way that you can generate more fiat.
Yeah.
Like that's not your message at all. Yeah. Like you're just basically saying, if you want to have autonomy, if you want to have sovereignty, if you want to be free, then where else are you going to get that from? Like,
yeah, and that's literally what it is. And funnily enough, I'm glad that you mentioned like L2 stacks and then Bitcoin and then what you can do L2. So again, you know, and especially for the maxis watching, right? Like we'll do some differentiation here, right? So, and then I'll ask you the question I'm going to ask. But for me, layer 2s like stacks, rootstock, you know, the layer 2s help with the rights side of things, yeah, right, and the contractual side of things, yeah. Layer 1 or layer 2s, like, or Lightning specifically as a layer 2, yeah, right, helps with the streaming, the direct payments, you know, side of things. And that being said even further, right, for those of you who are not, let's say, Web3 native, crypto native, you don't understand Bitcoin. As you know, the Sovereign Music podcast is presented with Coinscrum, or through Coinscrum, and also supported by 2140art.com. So if you go to coinscrum.com, there is a whole glossary that teaches you all of these terms that we've been using: Web3, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, blockchain, so on and so forth. And you can find a whole bunch of learning right there. And there's also 2140art.com, which is a supporter of the podcast and an online magazine that brings culture, money, music all together in one place. So with that being said, what I want to ask you, the next question is how do you feel about music rights? Like, have you ever had any problems or come up against any friction dealing with rights, like your royalties payments, or, you know, just understanding how to gain your rights for your music?
Well, yeah, it's like the number one thing, not the number one thing, but one of the important things that any artist should do in the UK is sign up to PRS. I'm signed up to PRS. I ain't made use of it properly yet, but you have to sign up to PRS. Like that's just essential. Anytime you perform, you're missing out on whatever, because if you're not on PRS, and that's about getting your rights and such. And then you got your mechanical rights as well that you need to, that is attached to the PRS. But the NFTs essentially, that gives us that automated fashion.
In automated fashion, yeah. So in other words, with the PROs like PRS, you know, for the Americans it's ASCAP, you know, got PPL, you know, these organizations. Do you think that is your view that the future will be that the PROs work with the technology, or is it that PROs die and we only have the technology self-sovereign?
That's such a good question. That's a really good question. The way I think PROs will still exist. I don't think they'll completely die, but the way AI is moving as well, and the way, like, they're saying basically in 5 years' time that the AI is going to be intelligent as the whole of humanity. So it's very hard to see. Very hard to see how certain things, but I think humans always find a way to adapt. Always. So I don't think they'll completely die. I think they'll find ways to work with
the technology.
In fact, their survival. If HMV is still alive, like it's not completely dead, but blockbusters, if they found ways to position themselves in streaming, they would still be as strong as they were. But you have to move.
No, definitely, and I think what you said before, you mentioned something earlier. We won't get into it, but with Jim and what he's doing, and we'll have Jim on the show at some point. So, with Jim and what he's doing, like that is something that's come up in his discussions on Bitcoin Live, a few times. Technologies that the PROs can use. And I think that Lightning is only one way of maybe the PROs being able to track or use, but Lightning is not as granularly trackable as maybe some of the other L2s or even working with L1 technologies could be. So it's really, the PROs are gonna have to play catch up at some point because the artists are doing their own thing. And just today I tweeted out, we tweeted out on the main profile that Apple had just given into this case, hadn't they, right, to allow people to use their own links on their pages. So what will Apple, this is only for Europe, so what Apple will be introducing is you can put your website link on your page, and you can also direct people to purchases via direct, right? So to me, that already says that the artist is winning the game, right? The artist is winning here because Apple or Spotify or any of the streaming platforms would have never previously allowed you to sell off of their platform, right? But the fact that Apple have now conceded to saying, hey, we're going to allow developers or musicians to put their website links and take people away from Apple to go and buy from them directly. And from what I read in the article, they're also allowing people to like almost directly advertise. So you're allowed to put the messages of this is what you're buying and this is how much it costs also within that framework, right? So that's going to be really interesting, right? Because now I'd say for the average Apple Music artist, it's going to be the ones who are going to benefit the most are the people who have already got a website, who have already got a channel set up, or a funnel set up to be able to get people as a direct community member. So it's big things, man. And
this is connected to what I was saying. Like Apple, they know how to adapt in it. They constantly adapt.
Yeah.
But the PROs are going to work for artists that just haven't got the mental capacity to
handle it, to deal with
DIY.
it.
And that's kind of like the benefit of being early in the crypto space as a whole, in that you can offer a service to those that just do not have the mental capacity to do it. Even the AI stuff, people that have the mental capacity to simply
even though they can use the AI to do the AI stuff for them, because they don't get it yet. Do you understand?
So you can provide that service for them, and that's why the PROs are important or will continue to survive, because there's X amount of independent artists, but there's also Y amount of independent artists that just literally, it's just too much for them. They can't. So that's why the PROs who position themselves well can be like, don't worry, we'll handle that for you. So you just concentrate on your art.
100%. And all right, so seeing as we're getting to a bit over time, but it's fucking great talking to you. Always good talking to you, bro. Like, if you were given a single platform or solution that dealt with all of these difficulties, would you test it out? Would you put music on there? Would you use it? Yeah, even if it meant you having to do a bit of studying to learn how it actually works. Because what we hear a lot of the time is like we tell people, you know, use this, use that, and everyone's got their preference for what they use. But sometimes it's like, hey this, hey that, and people are like, yeah, I haven't got time for that, this works for me. So it goes back to what you just said a minute ago. The PROs are providing these services so that musicians are not running around chasing their own bag, basically. But, you know, if you say to a guy, hey, here's a way that you can do it without the PROs, are they prepared to actually say, well, I need to do a little bit of study that may gain me an extra, you know, percentage or extra control? Are they prepared to do that, right? So in your mind, if again, I hit you today and I say to you, yo, Nat, I've got this platform, you know, you're gonna have to study a little bit to understand how this shit works, but you know, you can use this and become fully independent and also have greater earning potential. What do you think?
I'll be like 1,000% yes. And this is one I didn't like the different tenets of crypto. Again, it's just so important because it relates. Like for self-sovereignty, you want to have a non-custodial wallet. And if you don't, then you're going to be operating with a bank 3.0. Like,
and sorry, just to break that down there, right? So non-custodial wallet or bank 3.0. Let's just quickly, maybe for the viewers, just explain what is a non-custodial wallet and why shouldn't they, or from your perspective, why wouldn't you prefer bank 2.0 or 3.0?
So basically, and yeah, Bitcoin is created for self-autonomy, essentially. Ownership and control of your money. A lot of people don't understand and appreciate that when their money is in the bank, they haven't got control over it. And it's because for most, like 99.9% of the times, if you want to draw out your money, you can. If you want to shift your money around, you can. But people are aware that the interest that is developed on your money, the bank is basically utilizing your money to make money elsewhere.
Yeah, and giving you a fraction of the percent.
Giving a fraction of it as a little reward for them doing whatever they want to do with your money.
So you're basically, what people I think don't realise is that all the pennies in the bank that they're putting in the bank is really just them loaning the bank money, right?
Loaning the bank money. And even the thing of getting credit, and it's all a game. But anyway, the exchanges represent that to me as well. Like, and we know this when there's hacks. We see this when there's the FTX situation.
Yeah. And by the way, just to make it clear, right, people who might have seen that FTX situation that are outside of this space, the FTX situation is not a technology thing. It is just a scammer that faked that he was using the technology to scam people out of their money. So it's nothing to do with the technology at all. The technology didn't scam anybody, it didn't break, and it
was him.
And it wasn't hacked, you know. And hacks generally happen, again, just to kind of make the distinguish, like between the non-custodial and custodial. When you say exchanges, crypto exchanges are generally using a custodial model, so they hold onto your funds. Whereas a non-custodial model means that you are holding the ownership, the action, the administration rights over your funds, even though you might be trading them through a platform which is an exchange. So that's a decentralized exchange. And then we have a centralized exchange, which is essentially what you were just describing.
Yeah, the centralized exchange is the bank. Like, and that's the thing. FTX at the time was trusted. At the time, SBF was put out as the crypto god. He was gassed. He was gassed fully, and the media did that, and you know, we can go into conspiracies and all that kind of stuff. But the point is that when you have a non-custodial wallet, that is down to you. So if anything happens to it, you have to only look at yourself. If you forget your key phrase, if you forget your password, and that's it, then that's on you. You can only look at yourself in the mirror and be like, and then there's a sense of security when you have a big platform or an exchange that has got that. But if that's gone, and you have no control over it. And I see it the same as being an artist now. Like, if Spotify tomorrow crashes, and it's highly unlikely, but we can see big giants fall all the time. If Spotify crashes, then what happens to everyone's music on there?
And any royalties that you may not have claimed from there, you know, especially if they go to like bankruptcy or something like that, right? And it's a similar thing we see with deplatforming as well. Do you understand? Like the platforms can stop you from putting out what you want to put out, or use the algorithm to downplay what you've put out. You know, we see that hell of a lot on YouTube, don't we? Right.
Yes.
So you know, and that's what everybody probably understands that for YouTube.
So to answer your question, yes, 100%, because if I have greater independence on what I'm dealing with, then I feel much more comfortable looking in the mirror and say, okay, this is what I did wrong, or this is what I did right, or whatnot, this is how I can develop from it. And there's a full understanding of what's happening with it as well. And with NFTs now, the good thing about NFTs is that you retain value as an artist as long as it's in there. So the selling on of the NFT, so it's your initial community, they buy the NFT, they get a value from it, from the secondary sale. But then you will always get a percentage from it. As long as it's in contract.
Of course.
And that's such a blessed
in an autonomous way as well.
In an autonomous way. As an artist, that is so blessed. Can you imagine, like, you can't, that's not been a situation like where you sell a vinyl, you sell a CD, where you can retain the value of that if in the future.
Yeah, especially if somebody goes and sells it at second-hand or whatever. Visual
artists as well, this is a game changer for them, because how many times do visual artists sell their artwork for this amount, and then it can go on if they become successful, they don't ever get that value.
They go to worth millions, and they don't get any cut of that final sale at the end of the sale. So that's it, man. All right, cool. Listen, Nat, it's been fucking great, bro. It has been great as always, my brother. As always. So
the two Nats combined.
The two Nats combined, innit? Nat and Nat, yeah? Alright.
It's dangerous out here.
So before we wrap up, what I want you to do is just let the people know what it is that you're working on now that's coming next, or any kind of shows that you got coming up, events coming up. Also, where they can find and to connect with you directly.
So I was meant to mention, and because I talk in long with fashions, so because you did ask earlier, from when we connected and such, and then I come a member of the Stacks London community, and I have been running a show, the WebFree FREE music and poetry show. We do that every fortnight Monday. And at the moment it is grassroots, and like I'm saying, I'm just getting my ducks in a row and such. And this one is actually a really special one. My vision for this is going to be is massive. I just carving it at this stage, but there is going to be a point when it is going to get like risen on a whole nother level. And where we get artists involved. At the moment, it's conversations, a lot of conversations, being reasonings. You coming through, dropping a whole lot of jewels. Like the last one was really good. We had a whole different
whole different
demographic coming through and just dropping gems. Everyone's in a dropping gems vibe. So, but I do want music to be on there. I do want some poetry on there. I do want some art in general to be shared on there as well. Like I do want that space where there's that. So that's every. You can find that on the Stacks London Twitter platform, STXLDN. Every other Monday, the X platform, I said.
X formerly known as
the
platform formerly known as well.
And like I'm inspired by you. I'm grateful for these inspirations, because I'm inspired by people around me more than I am by icons, as great as they are, and they do inspire me. But it's more the people around me that I see personally what they're doing, and basically, like I'm saying, I'm just sorting out certain things, getting them in the row, and then we're gonna start going far. So fast, hard, and like I'm saying, I'm gonna be sharing the journey of it. I'm gonna be sharing the artistic journey. So the things that is gonna be most accessible to people is what I have rough and raw. and then when that's you get that when it's polished, and I've gathered a critical mass, then you're going to get the polished in the form of NFTs and ordinals and such. And we're on a compilation.
Don't worry.
Well, I shouldn't even say too much, but there's a compilation basically that I'm involved in, and I'm looking forward to it. Stella B, she's got a visual art, so she's going to be coming more into the form, and the two of us, we've got our own project. So I'm going to be pushing more and more as an artist. So you can follow me on Nat Nye, NATNYE, like New Year's Eve, TLA, the Lyrical Alchemist, Nat Nye, TLA, on all socials, and soon enough you're going to see the journey, and we're my whole journey as an artist is like I said, purpose driven, and the way the world is right now, I'm not really feeling it, and a lot of us are not really feeling it. So, and what is being proposed is incoming, we're not really feeling it. So this is why I'm championing Bitcoin. This is why I'm in this space as well, and I find myself distracted a lot, putting out little fires, because linked to what I was saying earlier, I'm an activist. I'm finding myself doing stuff for the community and such, but really now is the time for building. This is what we're here for. We've got to build the world we want to live in. So all the arts is generated towards that, and the action behind it, being a part of the Bitcoin movement as well. And it's all about building. What world are we building? And that's where my focus really is on, like, now. It's like building, and in order to build, you need money. And what's good money? Bitcoin. So it's just about getting the value from what I'm doing, because I can't do it starving. I can't do it with less than. So
need resources. Bro.
Yeah, need to be sovereign.
That's it. That
Sovereign Music Podcast. I'm grateful for being the premier, the first.
That's up, man.
On here.
That's up.
Nat Cole.
So listen, guys, Sovereign Music Podcast. You heard it from the man himself. Episode 1. Season 1.
Jeez.
We're going to be catching up with Nat Nye like a hell of a lot, I suppose, over this time that he's going to be putting stuff out. Bless up for coming through and watching the podcast. And again, you can find us everywhere, _Sovereign Music on Twitter, but everywhere else, Sovereign Music Podcast. And again, the main podcast you can catch up with on coinscrum.com/sovereign-music-podcast. Big up, people, and I'll see you on the next one.